1,100,000,000 BC, Copernican period begins on the Moon. 1 billion BC, multicellular organisms appear. 950 million BC, Rodinia split up into two. 900 million BC. The Earth is 18 hours long. 850 million BC, carbon dioxide drops causes an ice age, and the population of stromatolites starts to slow down. 800 million BC, Copernicus forms during an lunar impact and the Earth freezes, plus, the protista population explodes. 770 million BC, Kager's glaciation starts. 750 million BC, first protozoa appears, which Rodinia breaks apart. 740 million BC, Kager glaciation ends. 720 million BC, Cryogenian period begins, causing the coldest ice age at -50 degrees Celsius. 700 million BC, first amoeba. 660 million BC, Sturtian glaciers retreat. 650 million BC, first demosponges appear, which Marinoan begins, as well as the snowball Earth starts to warm up. 635 million BC, Ediacaran period begins. 633 million BC, Beardmore orogeny in Antarctica. 625 million BC, the Hyades star cluster forms. 620 million BC, Taimanide orogeny affects northern Baltic shield. 600 million BC, the Pan-African orogeny begins, making the first sea plants to appear. 575 million BC, first Ediacaran-type fossils. 560 million BC, first arthropods. 555 million BC, first mollusk Kimberella appears. 550 million BC, the first comb jellies, sponges, corals, and anemones appear. 544 million BC, the first small shelly fauna appear. 541 million BC, the Paleozoic era starts. 540 million BC, Pannotia breaks up, which causes the Cambrian explosion. 530 million BC, first fish. 525 million BC, first graptolites. 521 million BC, first trilobites. 520 million BC, Cambrian explosion ends. 505 million BC, deposition of the Burgess Shale. 485,400,000 BC, Ordovician period starts. 485 million. 450 million BC, sharks evolve. 445 million BC, the Ordovician extinction event which 60% of species dies. 443,800,000 BC, Silurian period starts. 440 million BC, the lands has becoming an greenish look. 420 million BC, and first creature took in breath of air, making them leave the water. 419,200,000 BC, Devonian period starts. 410 million BC, first toothed fish, which the first forests develops. 405 million BC, first flying creatures. 395 million BC, first tetrapods, which they gave birth to amphibians. 385 million BC, 1% of its land has become a swamp. 380 million BC, first tree-like plants. 370 million BC, Euromerical forms, which the late Devonian extinction occurs which 70% of species dies. 360 million BC, first crabs. 358,900,000 BC, Carboniferous period starts. 350 million BC, first large sharks. 330 million BC, first amniotes. 320 million BC, first synapsids, which Pangaea forms. 315 million BC, first reptiles. 310 million BC, oxygen levels are falling due to a massive consumption by animals. 305 million BC, first dipsids. 300 million BC, Sirius, the brightest star in the Earth's sky, forms 298,900,000 BC, Permian period starts 290 million BC, Pangaea forms 275 million BC, first therapsids 260 million BC, over 70% of the lands has become a desert 251,902,000 BC, Triassic period starts 251,400,000 BC, Permian mass extinction 245 million BC, the first ichthyosaurs 240 million BC, Euparkeria appears, making cynodonts and rhynchosaurs diversify 235 million BC, dinosaurs moves back to the water 231 million BC, first dinosaurs on land 225 million BC, first teleostis, or mammals 220 million BC, Pangaea starts to break apart 215 million BC, first turtles 210 million BC, viruses has become infective to eukaryotes 205 million BC, the North Atlantic Ocean forms 201,300,000 BC, Jurassic period starts Triassic extinction which 75% dies 200 million BC, vast rainforests form 190 million BC. Oxygen levels rise above today's level because of new rainforests 180 million BC. The Tethys Sea forms, which causes Pangaea to split into Laurasia and Gondwana 176 million BC. The first Stegosaurus appears 170 million BC, cynodonts go extinct, which Gondwana splits in two, and Earth's temperatures rise 165 million BC, first stingrays 161 million BC, first ceratopsians 160 million BC, first birds evolve 155 million BC, first triconodonts 150 million BC, South America separates from Africa, forming the South Atlantic Ocean 145 million BC, the Cretaceous period starts, which Madagascar splits from Africa 130 million BC, first flowers 120 million BC. India breaks apart from South Gondwana 115 million BC, first monotremes 110 million BC, first hesperomyths 106 million BC, first Spinosaurus 105 million BC, first bees 92 million BC, Australia separates from Antarctica 90 million BC. The Indian subcontinent splits from Gondwana 80 million BC, the first ants 70 million BC, multiperculates diversify, which the first trees starts emerging 68 million BC, Tyrannosaurus rex evolves 66 million BC, the KT extinction which most of the dinosaurs dies, which the Paleogene period starts 65,200,000 BC, all non-avial dinosaurs had gone extinct 63 million BC, the first creodonts, which birds became the dominant form 60 million BC, first primates 56 million BC, first Gastornis 55 million BC, India collides with Asia, which causing the formation of the Himalayas 52 million BC, first bats 50 million BC, Africa collides with Eurasia, causing the Tethys Sea to be closed 47 million BC, whales are returning to the water 45 million BC, the Himalayas are forming, including Mount Everest 40 million BC, Antarctica's ice cap starts growing, which the first canines evolves 37 million BC, first nimravids 35 million BC, grasslands appear, and the glaciation of Antarctica begins 33,900,000 BC, Oligocene epoch starts 33 million BC, first thylacinid marsupials 30 million BC, first pigs, and South America separates from Antarctica, making an island continent